Have you ever wondered how Steve Jobs became the legendary tech billionaire he was, and how he became one of the pioneers of the personal computer era? Welcome back to Storytainment Recapped. Let's get started.
These are state of the art. Nobody's making anything like this.
Welcome to Apple Computer.
I think we should start with around 90 grand.
Could you repeat that?
He's trying to start a war with IBM.
He's been doing the impossible ever since he was in a garage.
I'm gonna sue you for every cent!
Steve will no longer be involved in this company.
We're gonna make Apple cool again.
The movie is Jobs, released in 2013, an American biographical drama film based on the life of Steve Jobs. In 2001, a middle-aged Steve Jobs unveils a device he and a small team had been working on at an Apple town hall meeting. Jobs introduces us to a music-playing device, the iPod. He describes the iPod
1,000 songs in your pocket.
Jobs was feeling very enthusiastic about this new project he was about to unveil, and when he does, everyone cheers. The story flashes back to Reed College in 1974. Steve was a very awkward student who walked around barefooted on the campus premises to attend classes even though he has dropped out because of the high tuition. Dean Jack Dudman allows him to sit in on classes. The dean, who adores Jobs, offers advice to Jobs about great degrees he could study, but Jobs believes degrees are a waste of time and only a validation and means of job security. Jobs is particularly interested in a calligraphy course after he meets a student like himself. Her name is Julie. Sometime later, Jobs meets up with his friend Daniel Kotke. Daniel sees Jobs with a copy of Be Here Now by Babaram Das. This book and their experiences with LSD makes them spend time in India. His philosophical ideas also lead Jobs to the decision not to wear any footwear. 2 years later, Jobs is back in California, working for Atari as a video game developer, but he is frustrated with the efforts of the staff, whom he thinks are too lazy and uncreative. His boss, Al Alcorn, chastises him for his behavior, but also appreciates Jobs' talent and wants him to keep working for him. Jobs asks if he can give him his own project and promises to develop and deliver the best game he had ever seen. Jobs discharged by his boss to redevelop a troublesome video game and offers $5,000 in payment. This is a huge offer for Steve, and he accepts the job. While working on the project, Jobs has some difficulties and develops a partnership with his friend Steve Wozniak, but he ends up having Wozniak build in his place after realizing that he prefers not to work for other people and needs his independence. Alcorn is impressed with the outcome of the job, and he gives Woz $350. The job is such a success that Alcorn presents it to President Nolan Bushnell. Woz is working on a dialogue joke machine, but Jobs doesn't seem interested. Later, Jobs discovers that Woz has built the prototype for a personal home computer, the Apple I, which he expresses interest in commercializing. Jobs is very impressed with Woz's work and wants to partner up with Woz, but Woz thinks Jobs is overreacting as he does not believe anyone wants to buy a computer. But Jobs tells him,
How does somebody know what they want if they've never even seen it?
Jobs suggests that they present the work to Homebrew, but Woz is at first hesitant but later agrees. While trying to name their new company, Jobs suggests they call it Apple Computer, even though there is another company called Apple Records that is owned by the Beatles. Woz teases Jobs that this symbolizes his preference for Bob Dylan. After a failed sale at his employer company HP, Wozniak reluctantly demonstrates the Apple I at the Homebrew Computer Club to a bored audience. Some of the club members start to leave as he presents the idea. He tells them that the system will work.
Any television, video monitor, radio frequency converter.
But people still leave. Jobs is later approached by store owner Paul Terrell, who shows interest in the Apple I. He liked Jobs and Woz's presentation and wanted to make a business proposal. He owned a computer parts store and asks Jobs to stop by. Jobs visits the store as promised and tries to negotiate a deal with Paul. He lies to Paul that he has received numerous offers as a business strategy to convince Paul of his computer, but also tells him his gut wants him to give Paul the offer. They reach an agreement, although it seems like a huge risk for both of them, and Paul gives him 90 days to deliver, but Jobs assures him he'll deliver in 60 days. Jobs persuades his father, Paul, to let them set up their new company in the family's garage workshop, and he agrees. Jobs and Woz begin to work, but Jobs is unsatisfied with the pace and design of the computer and suggests they get extra hands. Jobs also recruits a staff of Kotke, fellow engineer Bill Fernandez, and young neighbor Chris Espinoza to the Apple team. Woz is worried about how to pay the people Jobs has hired, but he assures him
We can't afford to pay ourselves unless we deliver.
the team begins to work on their first batch of Apple computers. They deliver as promised, but Terrell is disappointed in the Apple I, being only a motherboard and not a full computer as promised. Woz is upset. Terrell tells them that average Joe wouldn't know what to do with a motherboard. Jobs tells him that as a computer spare parts owner, he knows how best to sell the boards to his consumers. This inspires Jobs to restart with a second model. He hires Rod Holt to reconceptualize the power supply for what will be called the Apple II. At first, Holt says it is impossible to meet Jobs' demands, but he agrees later on. Jobs makes a lot of phone calls to find investors for his company, but it seems like no one is interested in his work. Jobs is starting to get frustrated with the team's lack of motivation and drive. But suddenly, Mark Markula, a venture capitalist, notices Jobs and Wozniak's work and also joins Apple. Mark has a meeting with Jobs and his team. Mike offers a $90,000 investment, and they agree. He advises Jobs and Woz to go corporate, and they shake hands to a done deal. Jobs soon discovers his high school girlfriend, Chris Ann Brennan, is pregnant and ends their relationship. Jobs is frustrated and upset with the news. The Apple II is released at the 1977 West Coast Computer Fair success. The computer is a success. Jobs wants his team to do better with their product, as he is not satisfied that they are not doing anything different. Jobs fires the best programmer on the Apple Lisa development team. Apple's success eventually causes Jobs to distance himself from his friends. Brennan gives birth to Lisa Brennan, whom Jobs denies is his child. His attorney wants him to sign an agreement to offer child support to their child.
But you do need to sign this.
Woz talks to Jobs about his erratic behavior and refusal to offer Kotke any entitlements. Kotke, who is now an Apple II Plus repair, meanwhile leaves the company after acknowledging that his friend Jobs, who hardly even has any time to talk to him, is not rewarding the Apple I team with any Apple stock. Jobs' behavior grows more erratic, and it seems like he will run the company into the ground. The board votes that Jobs is removed from the Apple Lisa development team. Jobs is moved to the Macintosh Group, where he works with Bill Atkinson, Burl Smith, Chris Espinoza, and Andy Hertzfeld. Despite the change, his behavior does not change. He forces out Jeff Raskin, the original Macintosh group leader, when he insists he doesn't want to work with Jobs. He then takes his place. He goes to recruit new members to the Macintosh team. He brings Woz into the Mac team, too. The Mac team builds the first Macintosh successfully, and Jobs is impressed. He says it's insanely great. Jobs has a meeting with the board to choose the next CEO, and Jobs suggests John Sculley of PepsiCo. John Sculley is recruited as CEO of the company. The Macintosh is introduced with great fanfare in 1984. The introduction of the Macintosh comes with a high-budget television commercial, but is considered a failure due to its high cost compared to the competitor, IBM. After discovering that Microsoft founder Bill Gates' Word software is a plagiarized version of his team's word processor, Jobs phones to threaten him.
You stole my software.
After everything that has happened, Woz decides to leave the company, feeling it has lost its way. In 1985, Scully forces Jobs out of the company due to his erratic behavior and the damage it is doing to the company. He calls him his own worst enemy.
You are your own worst enemy.
In 1996, Jobs is married to Laureen Powell Jobs, and he has accepted Lisa as his daughter. She now lives with them. Jobs has a son, Reed. Jobs is now running Next. When Apple buys Next, CEO Gil Amelio asks Jobs to return to Apple as a consultant. Jobs is soon named the new CEO, then fires Amelio and relieves the board of directors. Jobs becomes interested in the work of Joni Ive during design of the iMac. He is moved by Joni's vision. The film ends with Jobs recording the dialogue for the third different commercial in 1997.